For years, Congressman Eric Swalwell has positioned himself as the fierce crusader against corruption, foreign influence, and anyone who hides the truth from the American people. As a matter of fact, in March 2017, after a committee hearing, Swalwell declared that emerging facts showed a
convergence with the Russian interference campaign.
Convergence, not a coincidence. He launched dedicated web pages diagramming supposed Trump-Russia ties and warned that Russia had attacked our democracy, with Trump's campaign as the beneficiary.
You've posted a lot of connect-the-dots information about this Russia investigation.
A lot of work on this issue is classified.
He spent his time on the House Intelligence Committee aggressively, very aggressively, pushing the Trump-Russia collusion narrative, turning the committee into a platform for one-sided accusations. Right now, as a leading candidate for governor of California with a fresh endorsement from the powerful California Teachers Association, Swalwell is fighting tooth and nail to prevent the public from seeing decade-old counterintelligence files about his own ties to a suspected Chinese intelligence operative. Fang, fang, bang, bang.
Let's talk about Swalwell, because you have not had the briefing that I had. I had the briefing and Nancy Pelosi had the briefing from the FBI. The FBI never came before this Congress to tell the leadership of this Congress that Eric Swalwell had a problem with a Chinese spy until he served on Intel. So it wasn't just us who were concerned about it. The FBI was concerned about putting a member of Congress on the Intel committee that has the rights to see things that others don't because of his knowledge and relationship with a Chinese spy.
Well, Eric Swalwell appears to be the very corrupt politician he has spent his entire career pretending to fight. Eric Swalwell appears to be the very corrupt politician he has spent his entire career pretending to fight. This is Drew Allen with the Daily Signal. For years, Congressman Eric Swalwell has positioned himself as the fierce crusader against corruption, foreign influence, and anyone who hides the truth from the American people. He spent his time on the House Intelligence Committee aggressively, very aggressively pushing the Trump-Russia collusion narrative, turning the committee into a platform for one-sided accusations. As a matter of fact, in March 2017, after a committee hearing, Swalwell declared that emerging facts showed a convergence, not a coincidence, between Trump's team and Russia. He launched dedicated web pages diagramming supposed Trump-Russia ties and warned that Russia had attacked our democracy, with Trump's campaign as the beneficiary. Swalwell also repeatedly slammed Republican efforts to wrap up the House intelligence investigation as, quote, a partisan halt and a cover-up Trump and Russia wanted. In April 2018, he blasted the GOP's Russia report as incomplete and inaccurate, solely intended to cover up evidence damaging to President Donald Trump, claiming Republicans refused to seriously look for collusion by avoiding subpoenas and third-party verification of records. Even after the Mueller report found, surprise, no conspiracy or coordination with Russia, Swalwell, what did he do? He doubled down. In April 2019, he stated on national television that there was circumstantial evidence that Trump colluded, adding that Trump knew they were doing this, that his family was meeting with Russians, and that offers were being passed to him while he publicly encouraged them. Days later, he went further, claiming Trump acts on Russia's behalf. It's almost like he was competing with the other nincompoop, Adam Schiff, another stupid Californian. So Swalwell didn't stop at Russia, though, right? In late 2025, he became one of the loudest voices demanding the immediate and full release of Jeffrey Epstein files. He called for public hearings. He insisted that officials be put in the witness chair so victims could get justice and enablers could be exposed. And he repeatedly declared, no one is above the law. Swalwell even suggested preparing to impeach or defund Trump, the Trump administration officials, if the files were delayed, framing any slowdown as defiance of Congress and an abuse of power. Boy, it's sweet right now. Right now, as a leading candidate for governor of California with a fresh endorsement from the powerful California Teachers Association this past weekend. Swalwell is fighting tooth and nail to prevent the public from seeing decade-old counterintelligence files about his own ties to a suspected Chinese intelligence operative. On March 30th, 2026, his lawyers sent a cease and desist letter to FBI Director Kash Patel. They demanded the Bureau immediately stop any effort to review, redact, or release records from the investigation into his relationship with Christine Fang. The letter called it an outrageous smear and blatant election interference aimed at derailing his gubernatorial campaign. Swalwell held a press conference insisting the case is closed and labeling the move a horrendous abuse of power by a temporary employee. Eric Swalwell is exactly the kind of corrupt politician he has spent his entire career pretending to fight. Here are the facts, by the way, on the Fang matter. Fang, bang, bang. Starting around 2012, when Swalwell was a Dublin city councilman running for Congress, Fang, identified by U.S. intelligence as a suspected operative of Beijing's Ministry of State Security, a spy, she helped bundle donations and organize fundraisers for his 2014 campaign. She assisted in placing a Chinese national intern in his congressional office. The FBI gave him a defensive briefing in 2015 about her suspected ties. He cut contact. No criminal charges were ever filed. He was never accused of passing classified information. When the story broke publicly in 2020, though, Swalwell offered no comprehensive accounting. He, in fact, evaded questions about whether the relationship was romantic or physical. He dismissed it as a partisan smear. He kept his seat on the Intelligence Committee, unbelievable, overseeing China threats until Republicans removed him. A long ethics committee review ended with zero punishment. Now, with Patel directing agents to prepare redacted versions of those old files for potential release, Swalwell's response isn't openness or confidence that the record will clear him. It's a legal threat to block it entirely. This pattern doesn't stop with Fang, by the way. Swalwell's campaign has funneled hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $300,000 by some counts, from donor contributions into what critics call a personal household payroll for childcare and nanny services between 2019 and 2025. Boy, it's good to be a congressman. Federal complaints filed with the FEC and the DHS allege he continued employing a foreign national nanny for roughly 2 years after her legal work authorization had expired, while billing the campaign for these ongoing personal expenses in a way that looks like regular weekly payroll rather than legitimate campaign-related costs. These payments continued even after elections, including large post-election reimbursements to himself and his wife. His campaign also paid more than $300,000 to a white-collar criminal defense and employment law firm, with many of those payments overlapping the period of the Fang ethics investigation. And in March 2026, Swalwell and his former chief of staff faced fresh ethics questions for aggressively pitching and pressuring fellow Democratic lawmakers to invest in or support his private AI startup, Findraiser, raising very serious concerns, I might add, that he was leveraging his official congressional position for personal financial gain. Now, contrast all of this with Foreign Service Officer Daniel Choi. He was fired in October 2025 for concealing a romantic tie to the daughter of a Chinese Communist Party official. No campaign help, no intern place, no intelligence committee access, just failure to disclose. He was fired. Swift termination under strengthened security rules. Swalwell had a suspected Chinese asset actively helping his campaign and staffing his office. He has spent years deflecting full transparency on multiple fronts, yet instead of real consequences, he has retained influence. He has consolidated major labor support, including a 310,000 member teachers union, and now polls strongly as a front runner, as a Democrat, for governor. This is, I believe, what you call selective accountability in action. Swalwell aggressively pursued narratives of foreign compromise against his political opponents, while his own documented associations with Beijing's influence operations and his personal use of campaign funds for what appear to be illegal or improper personal expenses raise serious questions. He championed sunlight on the Epstein files and Russia matters. But now Swalwell treats his own files and spending as too dangerous for voters to see. You know, Beijing's influence operations are patient and they are sophisticated. They target ambitious politicians with money, access, and relationships. Exactly the pattern Fang followed with multiple rising California Democrats. Swalwell wasn't charged with espionage, but the issue of basic judgment and discernment remains front and center. Can I ask you a question? How does someone who claims to be a national security hawk allow that proximity, then fight so hard years later to keep the record hidden, all while facing unresolved allegations of misusing donor money for household help and private business dealings? The deeper problem, of course, is the two-tiered standard that now dominates our politics. A low-level diplomat hides a China tie, fired immediately. A powerful congressman and gubernatorial contender with campaign involvement from a suspected operative, hundreds of thousands in questionable campaign spending on personal nanny and childcare costs, including alleged illegal employment, hefty payments to white-collar defense lawyers, and ethics complaints over his private AI venture. Legal warfare to suppress the files, plus enthusiastic backing from major special interests. Swalwell, man, he has long presented himself as the outsider battling the swamp, the champion of accountability, the defender against foreign meddling. His current actions reveal something a little bit different, I think. The corrupt politician he has spent his entire career pretending to oppose, one desperate to hide his own story while demanding everyone else's be exposed. Swalwell, release the redacted Fang files. Let Californians and the American people see the record. If it truly shows nothing but a closed case with no wrongdoing, transparency should be easy. If it shows lapses in judgment, or if the pattern of unresolved scandals involving the Fang ties, illegal nanny employment with campaign funds, hundreds of thousands in personal childcare reimbursements, white-collar legal fees, and using his office to promote his private AI business raises bigger questions, well, voters deserve to know before choosing their next governor, don't you think? The fact of the matter is that the man who built his brand accusing others of corruption and foreign compromise now looks an awful lot like the very thing he claims to fight. That's not leadership. That's the normalization of the swamp that Swalwell pretends to drain.